Okay, this is going to be a bit of a different video than what you're used to. So for those of you who have watched my videos before, this is going to be different from what you're used to seeing. I'm not going to walk around and show you anything. I'm not going to show you how to build something. I'm not going to share, a location. I'm going to talk about what I'm finding is the most difficult part of traveling alone in Mexico. I made a video a little while ago about becoming a digital nomad, and truthfully, I don't know if that definition is best for me. I don't know if I'm a digital nomad. I don't know if I'm a traveler. I guess I am. It's hard to put a label on me right now. Taking some time to travel. I'm taking some time to do the things that I want to do with my life. In a way, I'm sorting my shit out. So I've been in Mexico now for about 2.5 months and traveling alone. This is my first stop in a few destinations that I'm planning to visit. And right now I'm planning to be here for 4 months. So I'm a little bit past the halfway point. Yeah, there's things with that, 4 months, there's reasons why I wish I was staying longer. The option is to stay for 6 months. And my Mexico FMM, which is like a visa, a visitor visa, it's stamped for 180 days. So the opportunity is that I could stay for 180 days. And there's reasons why, in my mind, I wish I was staying for 180. I'm not going to, and that wasn't the plan initially. I have other things to do. And so, yeah, I'll be moving on in a month and a half. So, yeah, this is going to be different as well because, in my videos, there's this thing about making YouTube videos, and I've been doing them for quite a while. You share your personal life in your videos, but you don't want to share all of your personal life either, right? Like, privacy is important. You don't know who's watching or the type of people that you're going to connect to through comments or who will follow up and, subscribe or send you an email or whatever. So I always try to keep my personal life, at least in part, separate from the videos that I create. So this one's going to be, definitely a bit more personal, because I have to share, what I'm feeling now. And yeah, the hardest part of traveling solo in Mexico, that's going to be different for everybody. But I think this is pretty common for most solo travelers. So if you're planning on traveling solo, probably anywhere. But my experiences here in Mexico, I think this is probably a good message to share with anybody else. So yeah, like the traveling in Mexico, coming here, I was aware of different things that I would want to, be aware of. I could call them hazards, the hazards of travel, right? Safety and security and, food sickness and, just loneliness and, language barriers, and other challenges, right? All of those things, they definitely have been a challenge. The language has been a challenge, and there's things that you can do to try to overcome it. I should have learned Spanish, or at least started to learn Spanish long before I came here so that I would be further ahead than I am now. But I'm learning, and, you know, it's getting slightly better. Safety and security, again, you know, it's research, right? You look at these things and where you're going to travel to and what your risk tolerance is. Traveling solo, I think you're at higher risk of all kinds of different safety concerns, health and safety, I would say. You know, I was here for maybe a week and I started to feel sick, and I didn't know what it was. I was worried that it was COVID, and you know, it might have been. I don't think so, but it might have been. But I felt horrible. Being alone in a foreign country, a week into a trip, you know, the thoughts going through my head were like, you know, what do I do? You know, where is the hospital? You know, like, can I even communicate when I get to the hospital? Nobody to help me with that. That was a bit of a frightening experience. But, you know, I managed, and luckily I have a friend who is a doctor, and I was able to text him and just give him some symptoms, you know, and, you know, ask him what, you know, he thought I should do. So that relieved the stress, and I just continued to manage the situation. And I will say as well, I did pack with me a couple to COVID antigen tests, and I didn't use one in that instance, but a couple other weeks when I thought that I had been exposed, I did use it then to give myself peace of mind, right? It was negative. So, yeah, you know, food illnesses, the same, you know, alone. I'm concerned about some of the food that I eat in different places. More, I'm concerned about caring for myself if I get sick, you know? And so I have, you know, I have Pepto-Bismol, and I have chamomile, and I have ginger tea, and, you know, these things that, you know, if I get sick, then what can I take to try to give myself some relief? And, you know, fortunately, I haven't had any bad experiences yet. People have told me that it will come, especially when the hot weather hits. So I'll just, you know, try to stay vigilant in what I choose to eat, where I eat, you know, time of day I eat, and yeah, continue to manage that. The biggest difficulty for me has been loneliness. You know, and this is a weird thing. It's difficult to talk about because, you know, like, we don't talk about our feelings, and we don't put our feelings on YouTube. I always try to start my videos with a smile on my face, you know? And it's weird too, because I know that I'm an introvert. So being an introvert, I like to spend time by myself. Or it's not that I like to spend time by myself, it's that I am more comfortable spending time by myself. But, you know, the thing is, and I knew this ahead of time, I knew this would become a challenge. Over 20 years ago, I lived in Australia, and at the end of my stay, I was there for a little more than half a decade, and at the end of my stay, I took about 6 months, and I traveled around in my old Land Cruiser personnel carrier, and I would camp out in spots, alone, and I discovered then that I had this timeline tolerance. It was about 6 days. At about 6 days, started to go a little crazy. This weird mental need, like maybe it's even a spiritual need, I don't know, but this weird need where I would almost all of a sudden become desperate to have interaction with somebody. Just this deep, deep need that I need to be around other people. I need to talk to someone. I need to hear a human voice, you know? And back then I would drive away from, you know, the bush or the, you know, beach or wherever I was, and I would head to the closest town, go to the, you know, closest open pub, have a pint, and try to engage with the locals. And it seemed to resolve it, you know, that I would spend an hour or two chatting with locals, telling my story and hearing theirs, and occasionally getting invited to a party or something. Have to say, the fishing communities always had the best parties. But yeah, so that's how I managed it. And then I would head back out and, you know, spend time alone again. It was good to be alone and sift through life in the moment and have those experiences. But I did discover that I had a tolerance for loneliness. Those of you who are familiar with my channel and a lot of the videos that I create, I spend time alone. I go out into the wilderness for whatever, 3, 4, 5, 7 days, and I spend time alone. I've found doing those videos that the camera becomes my best friend, and this will sound crazy, but talking to the camera, it's also like having a companion, you know? It's you know, it's my Wilson, right? And I can talk to the camera listens, and it helps to extend that 6-day tolerance, you know, or at least make it more comfortable that I am actually using communication skills to some degree. Still, I've found that in those wilderness trips, and I get asked about this, how do I do it? How do I manage being alone? I find that in these wilderness trips that I'm out somewhere, and it's something that, you know, I can feel immediately on a trip, or maybe only in certain moments, but I'm out on a trip alone. And usually it's when I start to really tune into my environment and you know, start to discover something beautiful. I also usually, in those moments, also feel, you know, quite a bit of loneliness, and I wish that I was sharing that moment with somebody. So it's weird, it's strange, you know, because of course you want to have those moments, right? You want to be, you know, in the canoe paddling and the conditions be perfect, and, you know, maybe early morning and the mist is still, you know, rising off the lake. But then you have them, and there's that, you know, tranquil, calm serenity. And with that also comes this sense of wanting to share the moment with somebody. So that's what it's been like here in Mexico as well, except Mexico's had a couple other challenges, you know, because of the language. It's not weird, but it's weird. You know, I'm in the city center of Querétaro, so I'm surrounded by people and noise and, you know, all kinds of that city stuff. And I go out, right? I'm making videos, I'm doing things, I'm going places to see things, and I'm out. But there's this language barrier, so even when I talk briefly to somebody, I don't understand what they're saying, and they don't understand what I'm saying. Sometimes, you know, 1 in 10 of 1-minute conversations might be in English, but it's for, a minute, and, you don't connect with somebody. It's not, valuable, right? I go to beautiful places here and walk around and look at the amazing architecture and, go into art galleries and look at cool artwork, or, there was a cafe that is inside of a museum, and the cafe has this beautiful garden inside of it. And I saw this in pictures. Every picture I saw, I thought, okay, this is a spot that I have to go to. And I knew that I would rather go with someone, right? Like, who wants to go to a cafe or a restaurant and sit at a table by themselves and eat? No, you want to go, you want to enjoy the view, you want to have a meal with somebody, share a story, a laugh, and then leave and talk about, what you thought of it. Yeah, I went and had the experience by myself, and I'm glad that I went. I saw it. It is a nice place, and I know my judgment is a little bit different from what other people's judgment would be of this place, because I was alone. And so being there, I did have feelings of, nice place. It sucks that I'm here by myself. So, yeah. So then, of course, I try to manage it. I try to create friendships, and, as an introvert, that's super difficult for me. I don't want to say super difficult, but it's pushing me outside of my comfort zone. And I try to have conversations with people. I try to build relationships. Sometimes those relationships are in English, and that's great. Sometimes they're in English that, I don't want to say broken English, but I'm in a Spanish country, so most of the people who speak English, it's their second language, and they don't possibly understand the words in the same way that we would use our words. And the same, if I try to use Spanish, I might use the right word or say a word correctly, but use it in the wrong sentence or something, or what I'm thinking it means doesn't really apply in that way. So it's difficult. It's a challenge to try to have conversations that, that mean what you want them to mean. And then, of course, all these new relationships are new as well. So, you don't have, an old friend in your back pocket that when, you want to have a heart-to-heart, or, just, feel comfortable in your space. You don't have that, long-term friendship that, is different. And I'm sure you can just understand what I'm saying. There's something different about having a friend that you've known for a week and having a friend that you've known for years. So, yeah, I'd say as well, there's this thing, and like, this is just the honesty video, so I'll say, there's also this thing, I try to meet people and have friendships, but then I also have met a few people that I don't want to be friends with, right? So that brings up this whole other craziness, because, you feel lonely. You want to socialize. At times, it's almost like desperate to socialize. Then you meet someone and you're engaging, but there's no way in hell you'd ever hang out with that person in, your old life, right? So it's like being out in a hot day and asking for a glass of water and it comes to you and it's warm water, right? It does the trick of quenching your thirst, but it would be better if that was a cold glass of water. Even better if it was lemonade. So, you know, there's another challenge to it, which is equally crazy, trying to sort through these emotions of loneliness. And it's that again, it's weird because I'm an introvert, but you know, you're lonely, and then you make plans, and then you know, plans to meet someone for coffee, and you go there and they don't show up, right? And you're already feeling lonely. It has a greater effect on you, you know, like, because there's disappointment, of course, which there would be naturally, but when you have that loneliness, that, you know, need to go hang out, you know, you've been in the Australian bush for a week, desperate to talk to someone, drive into the closest town to the pub, and the pub's closed, right? It's like, I need this. And it's the same kind of thing, you know, let's have coffee. Yeah, okay, see you there. And then they don't show, you know, or plans to go and do something on the weekend, and, you know, the person that you're doing it with cancels, right? So it's yeah, it's interesting. You know, the benefit of all of this, and I knew this, and, you know, in my video when I first started this journey, and I made a video about becoming a digital nomad, I knew it then, it's in that video. I knew it before I left Canada, that this was going to push me outside of my comfort zone. This was going to build my resiliency. And it is, you know, or at least I hope it is. I think the benefits of all of this will come in the future, you know, when you're experiencing difficult things in the moment. It's not so much of a benefit that you're dealing with bullshit, you know, or struggling through shit that you wish you weren't struggling through. You get the benefits afterwards because you learned how to deal with it. But anyway, this video is just intended as a kind of a marker, right? I'm 2.5 months into a journey that, you know, is going to be who knows how long. And I need to do these types of videos to document as a journal for myself. But yeah, it's interesting. Right now, loneliness is something that makes me question, what the fuck am I doing? It's something that affects my mental processes. It'll be interesting to see how I learn to cope with this feeling, what tools I learn to use or access, and also if it changes my attitudes, my personality. It's going to be interesting. Anyhow, thanks for watching.